Great saw. Stihl 036. Bro. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Craig Arden channel. Taking you with me on a saw build, dismantling, if you will. I am working on here Stihl 036 Pro, and my son brought two of these home, both not in working condition. Neither one of them would start, and let me show you the one I just rebuilt and gave to him for Christmas. What do you think of that? Put a 20-inch bar on there. 036 Pro. Beautiful saw. Absolutely beautiful. Great condition. And total beast. 61.5 cc, 4.5 horsepower. That was his Christmas gift. Took me about a month or so to work on it. The only thing I have to do is put a new clutch in it. The clutch is clanging and doesn't stop the bar, so I got a new clutch coming. That one needed a total rebuild, and I'll show you that right here before I show you this one. This is my saw, and that's going to be his. Both of these were going in the garbage. They were throwing them in the trash because neither one would start. The one I rebuilt for him is right here, and you can see the aluminum transfer that it left. There's some more over here too, a little bit on that side, much more on that side, a little bit of carbon in there. There was oil in both gas tanks, and here's the piston on his. Yeah, it's those rings are completely gone, just worn away. My guess is that this cylinder could have been probably sanded down, because I think it just left some aluminum in there. But once those rings are actually worn straight through. They're kind of like welded in the grooves. So this was trash. So I put in a Meteor piston top end kit. So that was his saw. It runs great. It was a great Christmas gift. Now moving on to this one. Same saw, 036 Pro. This one, I just took the top off because I wanted to see what was going on in here. This has really good compression. This doesn't need a rebuild, but look at the water in here. I mean, that is crazy. I drained the gas. There was only just a eraser head size amount of water in the fuel. So I really don't know where this is coming from. I don't know if it came, I don't know where it's coming from, honestly. It's got the compression release, which you almost need on these saws. They have so much compression. This is probably a rebuild, and I'll tell you why I think it's a rebuild. If you can see, there's still grooves, manufacturing grooves on this piston. Hard to see. There's a little bit of scuffing down here at the bottom, but you can still see the ridges that are from. Maybe that'll pick them up. You'll be able to see the ridges going around the cylinder where it was made. This side looks really good. You can see them there. There's no scuffing on this. A little bit of carbon buildup here. But on the crank, there's water. I'm gonna have to get a new gasket. You can see that there. Look at the water. I mean, this is all fully sealed. Great compression. Where's that water coming from? I have no idea, but we gotta get that water out of there. So that's what we're gonna do. So come along on this build, and we'll tear into this saw. We'll get it all fixed up, cleaned up, and probably have a few part videos, something like that. I'll show you as I go along. I'm not a saw expert. This is going to be my second chainsaw build. For how to do this, check out Tin Man. Tin Man, he's got a great channel. We're gonna clean the carburetor. We're gonna get all this water out of here. We're gonna take the starter off and clean in there. We're gonna, you know, come around here on the back side, take a look at this. It's a mess. We got a new oil pump coming because it just, I don't know if we got a leak or we got blow by from the seals. So I'm gonna show you the seals on both sides. We might put a seal kit in here because I'm looking at all this oil and I don't know if that's coming from the engine or if it's just coming out from the oil connector down there. But I'll show you all of this, get all this crap out of here, and we'll try to make this thing as new as we can. Let's tear into it. Oh boy, look at all that water. Holy ton of water is in there. I don't know how long this saw's been sitting. I'm starting to think that this might be an original gasket. It looks very similar to the other gasket that I put on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some WD-40 in here inside the crankcase and get that, that'll displace the water, dump that out, and take this piston off, get this clean. I also want to clean the top of it. Looks like this saw was running a little rich. So we'll do that, and that should hopefully, I'm glad I caught this, and I'm glad I did this, because one, the saw wouldn't have ran with all that water in the crank. It just never would have fired. And the other thing I want to make sure is that all these bearings are good. Based on the way this feels, as I'm turning the piston over, based on the way it feels, I'm thinking it's going to need new seals. I'm thinking new seals for sure. Because when I put new seals in the other saw, there was a lot more resistance. And a saw that typically has this kind of, you can freewheel it this easily, that means that seal, which there's a spring around that seal, is probably not doing the best job and therefore is leaking. And you'll know this, you can test for that when you when you have the saw together and you're running it. You can run it and then turn it on its side as it's running, and then you can, you know, turn it over on this side as it's running. And if the engine RPM surges or changes, generally you can figure out that you've got an air leak. This was loose. It was really loose. All right, so let's just pop this guy off here. Yeah, a little bit of grease in here. Could just be from a leaky oil cap, and that gets in here. I'm not seeing, doesn't really look too bad. So that's positive. Definitely a good thing. I'll take this carburetor off. Carburetor just has two nuts, two 8mm. I just put them here so I don't lose them. Put them right up there. So while we're here, let's take this handle off. And there's one screw in the bottom, and it's just like a wood screw, plastic screw, flathead. Which, get this guy out. I'd like to hold this because this is the handle spring loaded. And I'll show you all what's going on in there. But just one screw holds that. There goes just one little wood screw. We'll put that over there. All right, so this is the operator presence. This is the choke. So as you pull up on this, it's gonna, see how that works with the choke? It's gonna close that. So this can just come down, go up. And we'll just take the top off here. Oops, here's our trigger. Put that there, put that there. Here's the spring I was telling you about. This is our carburetor linkage. So
when we trigger it up, this is going to open the butterfly. This cap comes right off. We'll set that there. And this cap is for the linkage for your two circuits and your idle adjustment. So we're going to clean this guy. This is a Zama carb. I can tell just by, let's take a quick look. So we're going to leave the idle where it is. This is your low. Your first one is your low. As it sits on the saw, closest one to the engine is your low, furthest one away is your high. And if you can see there's an H and there's an L. Generally speaking, let's see what these are. They're usually a turn and a quarter. So let's see, that's a half. This is a low. That's one full and a quarter. So we'll just turn it out. A half, a full, and a quarter. About like that. Let's see what the high was. One, well, half, one, and a quarter. So there's half, there's one, and a quarter. That's usually what they are. And I do like my saws, gas blowers, if you want them 4-stroke and, at wide open throttle where they're going blah, 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 making that noise, I like to run, and that means they're running a little bit rich. It's really hard to blow up a saw or anything, any other 2-stroke, if you're running it a little on the rich side. It just keeps the engine cooler, keeps the exhaust cooler, uses a little bit more fuel but not much, and you have to find that little sweet spot when you're cutting into wood or when it's got a load on it. That's really when you do it. So you can see all the sawdust in here. We're going to get this all cleaned up. Nice thing about these saws, they come apart real quick. This is looking dirty on the outside, so we got to get this carburetor all cleaned up. You can do a lot of this work on this saw just with a couple simple tools: a screwdriver, a pick. So you want to get this metal ring out. Let's see how that goes. Pull that out. There you go. That'll be easy to put back in. There's a washer, metal washer here. This has to come off. Alright, so we got that. Groovy. And this, no issues here. This is in good shape. So we'll just tuck this all in and we can pull this right out. We'll clean it up. And I'm not too worried about this getting anything in the crankcase because I'm going to be cleaning out that with WD-40 and getting all that water out of there. Gonna need a bunch of brake clean for this job. It's gonna help you out. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take this WD-40 here and we're gonna turn our attention down here and just get all that. Hopefully you guys didn't get wet when I did that. Get it all in there, so I'm getting all, it's filling up. And I can get the water out of there. Turn it on its side so we get those bearings. Yeah, I'm pretty much thinking that these seals are might be shot. Probably be able to see if anything gets past them. There's quite a bit of WD-40 in there. So let's take the piston off. Let's do that and get you back up here. Well, I did lose that. I don't know where it went. Just pounding out this wrist pin here. There we go. Oh, there it is. There it is, good. So now they're all accounted for, which is good. So nothing is stuck down inside there. Maybe you can see these lines here, machining lines. A little bit of scuff coming right down here at the bottom. Likewise on this side too. So what this tells me, if this is original, if I'm starting to get some wear down here and some wear down here, that as this piston is going up and down, it's moving a little bit. Still has really good compression, but as it's going up and down, the skirt is starting to rub on the inside. At some point in time, I'm going to need a rebuild on this saw because I'm getting, see how the top is black and the sides of the piston here are black. That means these rings are getting blow by. But, I mean, if you go to pull this saw over, you really would not know that that was happening, because you can feel just how good the compression is. You can hold the saw by the handle, it won't fall down, and it's got strong compression. So but for this point in time, I'm thinking I'm gonna clean this all up, scuff up this cylinder on a rebuild kit like this Meteor, which is you get the ring, the pin, the clips, and the jug. Really nice kit made in Italy. $150, $140. You can buy a highway kit. The highway kit, I think, is made in China. Not sure about that. But another good kit, another solid quality kit, highway, H-Y-W-A-Y. Those are good kits, and they're a little cheaper, a little less expensive, but they've got the Nicosil plating on the inside. A lot of guys use those and like them. But first thing is to get this water out, and then I'm going to clean all of this, flush the entire crankcase with some kerosene. You can also use ATF fluid, but I don't want any of this gunk getting in there, but because there's water in there, we had to do it. So not a big deal. We're just going to clean all this and scrape it all up. That'll be the next thing we do. So we'll just call this part one. Part two, we'll start. I'll have cleaned this all up. Part two, I think what we'll do is we'll get everything back together. If I'm gonna, I'm kind of hemming and hawing right now, but as you can tell, I'm probably, maybe I will put maybe I will, because it's gonna be my saw, and I've gone this far. Maybe I will put a highway kit in this one. The Meteor is a good kit, a little bit expensive, and right around Christmas. We just had Christmas. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. Might be a little tight. So, yeah, and there's a lot of junk in here. Let me go back in the house. We're going to take a look and see what a highway kit would be and when I'll get that. We'll post this video as part one. No need to take the crank or take the flywheel off to do any of this work. You can, take parts out, put parts in, and fire it up. And you want to it's a good idea to break in the saw. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put new seals in, remember, so I will take this flywheel off and get that off. So I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe below. Let me know what you guys are working on down there in the comment section. And have a great New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. And it's been a great year for the channel. So please stick around for more videos. This is another thing I found. The wrist pin, the bearing, the roller bearing in there, locked up and froze in a couple spots. You can probably see that if I
turn my camera off, I might even show it better. But yeah, those are, you can see the burn marks where the needle bearing actually stopped working, and it hung up, and like you can feel it with your nail. Like if I rub it over there, it's all rough, and it's not carbon, it's actually where it lack of lubrication, and we're gonna need a new wrist pin. So we're gonna go with a new build kit since that sealed the deal for me. Yeah, you can see that got hot, and lubrication wasn't getting up there, and you can see all the teeth marks from the needles on that wrist pin. So thought I'd give you a little update there. So even when a saw has really good compression, as this saw does, very strong compression, hard to pull it over without that compression release. Once you get into that engine, especially an original one like that, you can actually see that there's damage being done. So it wouldn't take long probably of running before that bearing would fail, and we'd have a catastrophic failure, or something would seize and then, you know, go kaboom. So good thing that we're going to replace it all. And I'll take you guys along with in part 2 of the video, or 3, depending upon when that kit arrives. But I'll show some other stuff in part 2. Haven't decided what that's going to be. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll catch y'all in the next one.